Hello, I'm Robin Gibson, and this is the Harvard House Money Morsel. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell so you get a notification of when we're releasing a new video. I'm sitting today with Willie Pelser. Hello, Willie.
Morning, Robin.
So, Willie, we've just had October is traditionally the time for the medium-term budget speech. MTBS, I think, is our acronym.
Yeah.
What is that? Maybe just fill in the viewers. What's the whole point behind the MTBS?
Oh, awesome, Robin. Robin, historically, and I can't remember exactly what the date was, but we're probably talking about at least 5 years, almost 10 years of medium-term budget principle. Okay. So what we had historically, we know around about the 21st of February every year, we've got the main budget. And normally that's the process where they'll announce major changes, whether it's a tax rate or incentives or whatever it is, or sometimes they would announce what they're thinking about. You remember we've gone through in South Africa a big tax change a couple of years ago, the CATS tax commission.
Yes.
So they'll announce those type of things in there. So where the medium term thing came in was the market started to say, but we've got a whole year of knowing nothing.
Yeah.
And then you have this once-off event type of thing. But also to initiate a process of planning for the future. So give us 3 years rolling every time what we're thinking in Treasury. So that's where the medium term. So it's an update, not just halfway through the year, but also on what's happening on this 3-year rolling.
Okay.
On the numbers.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting. Well, so I guess there was some significant, not news in terms of stuff that's to be implemented, but kind of it's a situation report on where we are as a country.
Yeah.
And I assume very much government finances. So what was the news?
Yeah, Robin, so this one, again, you listening for trends, changing trends. So I think this budget should be read as a reality check. We've been leading into this year. We had the government of national unity, and we think miracles is happening like every morning when you wake up, something is changing. And I think with this budget coming up, there was a recheck on where we are on revenue, expenditure, and obviously the deficit. So if we can quickly mention one or two things. So on the revenue line, I think the shock, because the market did react negatively to this. We're under on the income line relative to budget. Yes. And they've given an indication that it might be so for the next 2-3 years. So that was, what's happening here? Just one point on that. Everything looks fine. It's actually on our VAT receipts within the revenue line. Remember the time when everybody wanted the solar panel?
Yes.
We had the significant imports of, and there's obviously a VAT on that invoice. We haven't imported as much as we've done the previous year, so we're very under on imported VAT count. So that's why we're under. Any new things that they've announced on the income side? There's 2 changes, and nothing specifically to say we're going to change the VAT rate or this or that. So there's no thought around that. So that's good. On the expenditure line, I think what's very positive is we're going to budget going forward a primary surplus. So what does that mean? We're only looking at true expenditure, not what we need to pay on the interest line for the debt we have.
Okay.
So if that's a surplus, obviously the calculations make sense.
Yes.
We're spending less than what we're in.
Yes.
So, and they're initiating this process to go forward. Sad to say, yes, we pay 21 cents out of every rand on the interest bill. So we have to do something about that. Deficit's going to look relatively well. And on the debt as a percentage of GDP, also we're budgeting around for the next 3-4 years rolling, and there's lots of decimals in here, but let's call it on average between 75 and 77% debt to GDP. So in principle, that looks fine. We don't, relative to where we were.
Yes.
We're at some stage starting to look at like 90%, 100%. So,
yes.
So this is sort of a positive.
Yeah.
What's very interesting is clear communication that expenditure is going to be targeted towards what makes the economy tick. So infrastructure. So whether it's at municipal level, yes, there's lots of problems at municipal. What I didn't hear was we're going to bail out. I think that conversation has ended.
Yes.
Government of National Unity is a good reality and cross-check on those type of things. So that's positive. And then on as I say, on the deficit line, there's no fancy footwork. Yes, we're using this foreign currency reserve to stimulate the income line. We're not bailing out again on a Eskom and a Transnet and all of those. There were a little bit of extra cash that's going to Sanral. Our roads is in a bit of a disarray status. So in general, fairly good budget. Other positive news is they are looking at the salary bill.
Yes.
In the sense of the increase and that type of thing. We're not talking 6, 7, 8, 9%. What they've got in the numbers around 4.7.
And they were talking about sort of early retirement incentives to get the...
and it's alarming when you look at the number. They've set aside 10 billion for people to retire earlier. They're talking about 30,000 extra people, or people to reduce on the headcount. Long term, that's positive. Because obviously on those 30,000, you don't have the increase every year going forward. So, sort of lost in the rounding, but it's a good indication that they're looking at the expenditure.
So, Billy, I've seen a lot of headlines, obviously, still around the grey listing issue, but the one that was kind of prior to the grey listing was the downgrade. How does this leave us in terms of our finances relative to how our debt is seen by the rating houses and the global investment house? Yeah,
Robin, I think from those agencies like Fitch and S&P and so on, they've always said South Africa need to think about the debt to GDP scenario and obviously expenditure. So what this brings through is when we had the downgrades, we were looking at 85-90% debt to GDP levels. And that was the critical mark to say we're off. Yes, and quite a number of other things. Now there's more stability in the sense of we're talking 75%. So I'm not saying they normally meet this time of the year and then they give us sort of an update in December. I think what they can hint towards is sentiment change.
Yes.
So there are different. So on a rating, you can have a negative outlook, moderate, and sort of a positive. Yeah. So maybe we'll get something on that. But I think they'll probably wait for the true budget in February again.
Yes. Okay. Well, Willie, that was very interesting. Thanks for giving us insight on that. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.